to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This One's Wife. With love, Meghan. Episode 2.2. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Are you excited? Are you finding that you have butterflies in your stomach? Are you unable to concentrate? Has the last hour or so been sheer hell as you've waited to find out what happens when Mindy Kaling has arrived? What? No? You went off and rearranged the airing cupboard. Okay, I can understand that. Well, Mindy Kaling is on her way, and she arrives, and she is set up quite clearly as another stooge, just like Daniel Martin in episode 1. I can safely say that we will probably find, if we can be bothered to watch them, that in the other episodes that there's going to be a similar course of events, that whoever is the guest is brought on simply to make This One's Wife look good. The guest list does not look particularly exciting. There are people that we've heard of only by virtue of studying This One's Wife's universe. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't recognise many of them. In fairness, Kaling is an exception to that. You would probably have known about her comedy career or television career outside of her involvement with This One's Wife, but for many of the other guests, not so. Anyway, it's Kaling who turns up, and her role is to basically ensure that This One's Wife is flattered, complimented, heralded as a culinary and domestic genius. She tells us, "What? Is this preserve?" when she is given something to eat. "This is gorgeous," she announces. I've completely forgotten what she was referencing because she issued such complimentary declarations so often, it really all just merged into one. She explained, "When I received in the mail your box of preserves, it was probably one of the most glamorous moments of my life." That appeared in the trailer, and of course, an observation such as that either demonstrates that Mindy Kaling doesn't have a very glamorous life, or more likely, she's completely over-egging it. You really think that receiving some preserve through the post is glamorous? It's not. Don't lie. She continues, "This is so good," and then remarks about how she wanted to ensure that she had the lowest number in relation to the jam escapade of last year. "How did you season this so perfectly?" she asks, and on it goes. A dreary stream of questions to tee up This One's Wife, then giving the benefit of her culinary expertise whilst attempting to look modest and failing badly. Again and again, all Kaling does is simply talk about how wonderful it tastes, it's gorgeous, it's amazing, wow, how talented you are. And thus, This One's Wife is then able to respond by giving a little tidbit of information as to how she has done it. It is sickeningly sycophantic, and unfortunately, for This One's Wife, people see through it. They realise, look, what you're doing, it really isn't rocket science, which at one part This One's Wife actually admits that it's not rocket science. But the fact is, it isn't. And whilst it's only right to compliment somebody with regard to their endeavours, it's politeness, in the context of a cooking programme, the exaggerated responses are transparent. You can just simply say, "I really enjoyed that, that's really good." But here, given the fact that we have a narcissist that thrives, of course, on the pure positive fuel provided by compliments, she needs these responses. And given what she's doing, none of the food looks awful. None of the food you look at and go, "Ooh, that looks like a dog sicked it up." But neither are you blown away by it. You don't look at it and think, "That looks absolutely gorgeous." In fact, the saccharine and fake nature of This One's Wife taints everything that she's involved with, so that her presence detracts from what's actually being done. And the consequence is that the exhortations of delight and glee that come from the guest look all the more manufactured, and therefore the attempt to make her look good once again backfires. We then realise that This One's Wife is something of a day drinker, for out comes the champagne. Kaling remarks, "I think this is the earliest I've had alcohol for some time." We don't know what time it is, but one presumes it's prior to midday. This one's wife reacts with, "Oh, welcome to Monty Shit Show," with a reaction that suggests that she regularly partakes in alcoholic beverages prior to midday. It's hardly a surprise. This one's wife tells us that she's got ideas for a children's party. Wait for this. They are to have kid-sized sandwiches. Wow, that's never been suggested before. I thought you'd be slamming down a 12-inch sub for them to demolish, but kid-sized sandwiches it is. Sweet treats? No. Children like sweet things? I never realised that. I'm learning so much. There's going to be a fruit platter in the shape of a rainbow, something which has been done hundreds of times by other people, a balloon arch, never seen one of those before, have we? And little gift bags. And there's also going to be fresh mint tea. Why would children be interested in drinking fresh mint tea? They want something fizzy and sugary that then sends them into a sugar overload, so they go charging around your house, screaming at the top of their voice 45 minutes before collapsing in a heap and having to be scooped off the floor by the relevant parent coming to pick them up. Still, those are the insights of this one's wife with regard to a kid's party, perhaps suggesting that she's never really thrown one, and what she actually is focused on is wanting to impress adults with her supposed expertise rather than actually catering to what children want. This would be typical of this mid-range narcissist. After all, the responses of the adults and seeking to impress them is far more important than giving satisfaction to children. Children are just an irritation and a nuisance. We then move to the issue of how to make a balloon arch. Yes. Now, I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark here. It may not entirely surprise you to learn that your glorious narrator is not somebody who regularly makes balloon arches. Indeed, I am prepared to confess that I have never made a balloon arch. I've walked underneath a couple. I have even deigned to pop a couple of balloons, because it entertained me as I walked through. It's startling the person that I was with. Nevertheless, I would suggest that in a balloon arch, you probably get some balloons. You probably want to get ones of different colour to create contrast. You'll probably need something which provides the spine of the arch so that you can then attach the balloons to it. I would imagine that's how it generally works. But I'm prepared to be tutored and enlightened by the party creation wisdom of this one's wife. She lets us know, of course, that she's done a couple of these already for her own children. Yes, once again, a bit of triangulation with the kids to let us know that she's got some. And we have another throwback clip whereby it shows a piece of video footage with Harry asking what's going on, my love, and they bring up the past concerning a little party for Archie involving Doria back in May 2020. This is evidently a little bit of filler that's thrown in there, and what we have is the commencement of the balloon arch. This one's wife explains as she stands there in front of the island, the first time I had the fascinating adventure of doing this manually, it really started to get tiresome on your cheeks. Whoa. This has taken a sudden turn, hasn't it? I thought we were talking about children's parties and we've ventured into the arena of porn, as she's telling us that the first time she did this manually, it really started to get tiresome on her cheeks. Who's been clapping her cheeks? Harry? Marcus? Various denizens of the Soho house? Prince Andrew? I think we need to know. Oh, hang on a second. I've just realised she's actually talking about blowing up balloons. Ah, I see. Well, given her history, it's a simple mistake for your glorious narrator to make. Thus, again demonstrating that she's the woman with all of the answers, rather than blow them up using your mouth. And given the fact that she's full of hot air, this should really be an easy task for her. No, instead what we get is a balloon pump. Ta-da! She tells us it will be joyful. Yes, everything's joyful, isn't it? Taking a dump is joyful. Stinging yourself on nettles is joyful. Whatever it is that you do is joyful. She explains that it's going to be joyful. And then Mindy Kaling reappears. She was absent for the balloon section. Don't know why. Maybe she was exhausted. Maybe she needed a little snooze after drinking too early in the day. But she's back in stooge mode. And she has to then say, I want to ask about your look. And there is an exchange whereby she says, Luke, and Tao doesn't understand. And she says, Luke. And she's, what, look? Luke Skywalker? What's going on? Eventually she understands that it is another opportunity as Kaling tees up something for this one's wife to tell us all about what she's wearing. Yeah, because that's relevant, isn't it, to a kid's party, what one of the mothers is wearing. She then describes it. I can just remember one piece is from Zara, the other places I just can't recall, and nor do I care, and I suspect neither do you. Kaling then remarks, your fashion is one of my favourite things. Yeah, tonging the yitta as this one's wife is able to declare, I am a fashion icon. Simply marvellous, simply amazing. So here we have this one's wife supposedly making things for a kid's party, and what does it turn into? Her talking about her cheeks, her talking about using a balloon pump, and then basically deviating to talking about fashion. That has no relevance whatsoever to a kid's party. It's padding, and moreover, it's all about making this one's wife look good. Look at me, I come up with really good ideas. Look at me, I've got children, I host parties for them. Look at me, I'm going to create a balloon arch. Look at me, my cheeks got tired. Look at me, it was a fantastic adventure. Look at me. Hear about my clothing. Well, we're going to pause there. And when we return, you are going to be given a deep dive into the most intricate of culinary activities. You're going to be taken through the labyrinthine maze, where hitherto you have been confused, nay, utterly dumbfounded as to how this is done. Yes, brace yourself, because you are going to be taken upon the magical mystery tour of sandwich making. Join me there.